welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy and I'm coming to you today from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, February 10th, 2023. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you all. You can find me online on Instagram at Noble Character Crafts, and I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below. You can also contact me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I will also have all of the description notes for this episode in the description notes below as well. I'm hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram called the Make 9 2023 Mal, and that's for you to join in the Make 9 challenge, where you choose 9 projects that you would like to make this year. Post a board or a grid of those 9 projects to Instagram, and then every time that you work on one of those projects and post a picture of your work in progress or one of your finished objects from your board, then you can also include the hashtag Make 9 2023 Mal. And that will enter you to win a prize, which I draw periodically throughout the year. Any whips are allowed, any crafts are allowed. You don't have to finish anything, so it's just a participatory make-along. There's no pressure to finish everything on your board. If you change your mind, that's no big deal. So it's a pretty, it's not a very strict make-along. You just put 9 projects that you would like to work on this year, and then whenever you work on them or finish one of them, you can post a picture and enter to win the prize by including that hashtag. A couple of episodes ago, I had drawn the final winners for the Make 9 2022 Mal, and there was one prize that was not claimed, so I redrew a winner for that prize. So that prize includes this beautiful project bag that was gifted to me by a lady who was thinking of opening an online shop for her project bags but decided not to. Her company name is called Mazer Makes, and I believe that she's just selling in person her project bags. But it's just this beautiful project bag with a boxed bottom and this handle on the side, and it has a zipper. And I've also included an adorable progress keeper that my cousin Allie sent to me. And also included with the bag is this beautiful pull charm as well. Somebody had asked if my cousin Allie has a shop where she sells the things that she has sent to me, but she does not. She just does it for fun at this time. So I'll be sure to let you know if she ever does open a shop, but she does not have an online shop at this time. And this prize also includes this gorgeous sock set, which was also sent to me by a viewer of this channel. And this is a set by Gypsy Soul Fibers. It is called Beach Bum. The main skein is a bit of a different base than the mini skeins, but the main skein is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. They're all fingering weight yarns, but then the 2 minis are an 85 superwash extra fine merino wool and 15% nylon, but you could of course still use them together if you wanted to make socks with these or whatever. So pretty. So this is the prize, and it will be going to Heidi, who is at Hecklapicken. I'm not sure how to say that correctly on Instagram. I will put it down below here so you can see. Congratulations to you, Heidi. I'm so happy that you have won. If you would please just get in contact with me through either my email address or through a direct message on Instagram, let me know your full name and mailing address, and I'll be happy to get this off in the mail to you as soon as possible. So that was still for the Make 9 2022 make along, just the final prize for that. And then I am going to give away a couple of prizes for the Make 9 2023 Mal. The first one is a set of 3 skeins of yarn by Knit Picks. It is the Dishy Twist. This yarn was also gifted to me by an anonymous viewer of the podcast. And the 3 different colorways I have here, these are all worsted weight 100% cotton yarns. And the first one is called Kanai and Blue and Begonia. So those 3 will be gifted to Leslie at Leslie's Lake Life. Congratulations to you, Leslie. Thank you so much for participating in the Make 9 2023 Mal. And you can also get in contact with me through my email or Instagram and let me know your full name and mailing address as well. Congratulations to you. And finally, I'm going to be gifting these 2 Knit Picks Felici skeins of yarn in the Summer Nights colorway. And I believe that this is a 4-stripe color, self-striping yarn. These are each 50 grams. And they are 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I'm also going to be gifting a mini skein from my own hand-dyed yarn that I just had on hand. I thought it looked cute with these colors in the self-striping yarn. I don't dye yarn to sell anymore, but I used to a long time ago. And anyway, this was a colorway that I had dyed. I believe I called it Friend, if I remember correctly. But this is also a 75-25 base, and it's a 20-gram mini skein. So I'll be sending that along with these 2. And this is going to Beth, who is knit.ready.play on Instagram. Congratulations to you. Same for you. Just let me know your mailing address and I will be so happy to get this off in the mail to you as well. Thank you to everybody who's already been participating this year in the Make Along. It's so fun to see the different projects that you all are working on. And if you haven't already entered or joined in the Make Along, you can still join in at any time throughout the year. It's, like I said, pretty low pressure, so you can join at any time if you want to share the different projects that you would like to work on this year. I have a few finished objects to share with you. The first, before I do that though, I always forget, what am I wearing? I am wearing my Vo vest, which is a knit that I made, I don't remember now, over a year ago. It is a design by Mary Jane Mucklestone, and I really, really love this item. I'm really proud of it. I think it's it turned out so well. It fits me really well, and the color work just turned out great. It was a steeked project, so that was really fun. The neck and the armholes were steeked. So that was an interesting process. I had done steeked projects before, but never in that way. I believe I'd only ever, for a garment, I had only ever turned a item that I had knit in the round and then cut it down the middle to open it up and make it into a cardigan as far as steeking goes. So this is kind of a new process in steeking a neckline and armholes. But anyway, I will link to the episode where this was a finished object in the description box below if you're interested in finding out more about this project and the different yarns that I used and more details on how I did or made this project if you are interested. On to my first finished object. It is this Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. And I modified the pattern to add in some texture and a few different colors here. On my last episode, I shared with you the Exploration Station shawl that I knit for my daughter. And I had some leftover yarns from that project, and I wanted to try to put in the different textured patterns that are included with that shawl into the hat. So I did that really in just these 3 sections. I added this is a brioche section, and then this has some slip stitches, and this has some fun kind of garter stitch bumps in it. So it was really fun to add those textured sections into this hat so that it kind of mimics the different sections in the shawl. And it was great to be able to use up so much of this extra yarn that I had. So this is all made with Yarn Bee Color Idyll yarn that is now discontinued. I got it at Hobby Lobby when it was being clearanced out. The 4 colors that I have are Orange-ology. The darker pinky purple stripe is Magenta. This is L is for lemon, and neon watermelon. And it was just so much fun to make this hat in this way because, you know, I was changing the colors often and adding in the texture. So it just made the hat knit up really quickly. It was just really fun to work it up. So last time I recorded, I was just about ready to switch to the orange color here. I had worked from here and I had gone down. So I was about right at the end of this magenta stripe. And I'm sure you should probably all be familiar with this pattern, but if you're not, it's knit in a big tube like this, and then you start at this end and do some increases, knit a long tube, and then do some decreases at the other end so that it kind of folds into itself to make a double thick hat. This is all fingering weight yarn. It is 50% merino wool, 30% nylon, and 20% acrylic. And it's fingering weight. I knit this hat on a US 2.75 millimeter needles, and I got a gauge of 7 stitches to 1 inch, and I knit the adult medium size. So this, I just ended up striping in the leftovers that I had in kind of a random way, the second half of this hat, just using up what I had. I did actually have to break into I had 1 extra skein of the magenta that I didn't think I would need. I thought I would just be able to use up the leftovers from the shawl, but I did have to use that last skein of magenta. I mean, I didn't use it all up. I just had to use a little bit of it to do this crown decreases here. So this last section is all done with that new skein of magenta. Anyway, I used up all of the Orange-ology, Ellis for Lemon, and Neon Watermelon bits that I had. And anyway, this is so much fun. Since I've done the stripes in this way, it will be really fun to wear this reversible. You know, you can wear it either way and show the different striped pattern. This size fits me really well as well. I'm sure it'll be great on my daughter too. I actually haven't told her that this is for her yet. I just kind of want to surprise her again like I did with her shawl. So this can be worn kind of more slouchy like this, or you can roll up the brim here and make it more of a tight-fitting hat, which is great. Again, these colors are like not for me. I just don't do well with neon colors, but anyway, then you can also switch it around and wear it with this side showing, which is also cute, I think. So I think that will be really fun for her to have some different options and play around with how to wear this. It's such a nice fitting hat though, really. It feels so nice and cozy. Especially when you roll up this, you know, if you do roll up the brim like this, you have a really thick layer, 4 layers of fabric over your ears right there. So that's great. So I hope she likes it. I'm sure she will. And she didn't see it. And she said, "Oh, Mom, that looks like my shawl." I said, "Yeah, it does." That was all. She didn't ask who it was for, but she'll be really excited that it's for her. So anyway, there is the Musselburgh. This is the second time that I have knit this pattern, and it's just really an enjoyable pattern. Well, it can get a little boring if you just knit it with one color, but with striping it in with scraps like this, it's super fun. It would be so much fun just to make a completely scrappy version of this pattern. But it was really enjoyable to make that. My next finished object is another gift. This is going off to some family friends. They had asked me to crochet this pattern up for a lady that I don't know, but one of their friends. So I have made this pattern once before as well. This is called Shell Done. It is a free pattern that you can find through Hobby Lobby, and I will link to that in the description box below. Again, you do need to scroll if you click on the link for this pattern, you need to scroll down a few pages to find this option, because I need to find the pattern. So here it is. Here is the pattern, and it comes with 2 poncho designs. Here is the first one, which is a knit option. And when you click on the link, you need to scroll down to get to the crochet version. I knit this exactly to pattern. The only change that I made is that the color that I have for the middle section here is different than the original. Otherwise, I have used the exact same colors and I didn't make any modifications to the pattern. It's knit with worsted weight yarn, Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek, and the colorways I used are Blush, Clay, and Spice. I used an H5mm hook to crochet this project, and it turned out really well. It's an easy, enjoyable pattern to make, and it just, as you saw on the model here, it just slips over the head. There's just an opening for the neck, and then the sides are open, and it's just an easy option to slip over as a fun poncho. It's crocheted from the top down. These stitches are treble crochet stitches and half double crochet stitches, and you work into the front or back loops to make this fun texture along here with these little ridges. And then the bottom section is crocheted using shell stitches and double crochet. So it's really fun. And then you just go along the edges, except the bottom. You go along the 3 edges with a double crochet stitch to finish it off. And you join the shoulders. I just did a whip stitch to seam up these shoulders. And you leave a neck opening. And that's it. So there we go. I was very happy to be able to make this for them, and I will hopefully get to see them soon. I'm not sure when, but as soon as I do get to see them, I will hand this off to them. Last time I recorded an episode, I had shared kind of spontaneously a few of my different Scrappy blankets that are in the works. And one of those projects that I shared with you was a granny square blanket that I was working up. And after I recorded the last episode, I had pulled off that blanket. I hadn't worked on it in quite a while, and it got me thinking about working on it again. So after I recorded that episode, I started working on it again. And after I worked on it for a little while, I decided that I really wanted to make it into a pillow cover. So that's what I did. So last time I showed this off, I had all of these squares done, plus I had this one done as well. So I still needed to make another 11 squares in order to fit this pillow that I had. And I am just so happy with how it turned out. I think it turned out super cute, and I'm really pleased that I was able to make this as a pillow cover. I decided to do it as a pillow cover just because I had added in, I think, just 1 or 2 squares, and I just decided that I didn't want to make it into a huge blanket. I wasn't super enjoying the process of making the squares, which is probably why I hadn't worked on it in so long. And I had this pillow that really needed a new cover because it was getting old and, wasn't looking the best. And I just thought it would be perfect to make a pillow cover. So I'm so happy that I did. And I've got, I don't know, I just felt like it wasn't going to be the best option for me to keep this as a Scrappy blanket because it was going to be such a long-term project that I just thought it would be better to make it into a pillow cover. So anyway, I, as you can see, did 12 squares on each side, which fit this pillow really, really nicely. Then I just seamed up the top and bottom and left one side open. And I've just added in some buttons to close it up. That way I can wash this cover if I need to. So that was great. And then you can just use the openings from the crochet stitches to fasten those buttons. So that works out well. You don't have to add buttonholes, they're already there. The way that I made this is I used all fingering weight scraps. I kind of put groups of matching colors. As you can see, this is all made with yellow. This is all green. So I kind of sorted my scraps into different colors. I used a C 2.75 millimeter crochet hook, and I did, the first round is just a typical granny square pattern. And then after that, all the rounds are, I think it's called a closed granny square, where you're just doing double crochet stitches into every single stitch. And then the corners are made with 2 double crochet stitches, chain 2 double crochet stitches. I did 7 rounds for each square, and I joined the squares together as I went along on the 7th round, using slip stitches into the adjacent square. I crocheted over all my ends, so I didn't have a ton of ends to weave in. I do that as often as I can when I'm crocheting. I crochet over my ends, so I don't have a ton of ends to weave in. I switched colors every round, or sometimes every other round, but no more than 2 rounds are done with each color of yarn. And I just think it's so fun. I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. It would have been, of course, an amazingly gorgeous blanket as well, but I just felt like it was better to work it into a pillowcase or a pillow cover. You can probably see that the pillow I covered up is orange, and so a little bit of that orange is popping through the tiny holes, but I don't think it's that noticeable. I think it's great. It's so colorful anyway that I don't think it matters. Isn't it fun? I'm really happy with it. I can't decide which side I like better. I like them both. So anyway, I was super happy to get that project done as well. It was so fun to work on. But like I said, I'm kind of glad that I don't have it as a long-term project as well. Okay, those are all of my finished objects. I will go on to my works in progress next. My first work in progress is being held in this adorable project bag that I was gifted by my friend Michelle from I Heart You. So cute with those little birdies all bundled up for winter. And in here is a pair of socks that I am knitting for my friend Eva, who also belongs to the same family that Poncho is going to. This is the second item from my Make 9 board. It is just a simple pair of ribbed socks that I'm making for her in this gorgeous yarn from a Homespun house. This was a special one-of-a-kind birthday yarn that Molly sold several years ago. It's called Unicorn Magic. It's on a fingering weight 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base as well. I cast on 60 stitches and did 1x1 ribbing for 20 rounds. I'm using US 0 2mm needles. I always use Chowgu red lace needles for all of my knitting projects. This cute progress keeper that I showed you on, as I had won this in a prize from Kay of the Crazy Sock Ladies, stripy, scrappy sock cowl that she had hosted last year. And I believe that this, I'm not really sure if I will say this correctly, but I think this is from Monster Knits. It's spelled in a very odd way. It doesn't look like the regular spelling of monster, but I think it's pronounced Monster Knits. I hope that's right. But it's spelled like M-A-U-G-H or something like that. Anyway, it's a very cute little sock blocker progress keeper. Anyway, that's marking where I was last time I recorded, so I was still on the ribbing. I had just started these. And so for the body of the sock, I am doing a 4x1 ribbing. So knit 4, purl 1. And I've finished the legs. I did 60 rounds for the leg after the cuff, and then just did a slip stitch heel flap. And I am now working on the foot. I have these markers here just counting my rounds for the length of the foot. Eva has, her shoes are just one size smaller than mine, so I wear a 9.5 and she wears 9. So I'm just gonna make these a little bit shorter than I would normally make for myself. But it shouldn't take me too much longer, I wouldn't think, to finish these up. It's super easy, mindless knitting. This is my on the go knitting project. If I need to go somewhere or work on something where I can't concentrate on what I'm working on, I will bring these along, and they're the perfect project to have on the go. This yarn, I just adore working with this yarn. It's so much fun. I love all of those colors. It's so beautiful. Every stitch is different. It's so much fun. So those are really fun and easy to work up. My next work in progress is another pair of socks, and I am holding these in this new bag that I got from Midwest Stitches. Danielle, I showed you last episode that huge box of goodies that she sent my way, and this was one of the project bags that she sent, and I decided to keep this one for myself, and I love it so much. I am trying to work through my Knit Picks Felici stash this year, and I have a total, for the whole year, I had a total of 11 sets of yarn. And so I've kind of planned it out for the year where I want to knit one pair of socks using Knit Picks Felici January through November. And then I still have, I think, 2 more skeins of Knit Picks Felici that are just individual skeins. But I will have worked through 11 sets of, they're 50-gram sets. Anyway, so I have started my February pair. I actually have 3 skeins of this yarn. I don't know why in the world I would have 3 skeins of one colorway. That doesn't make any sense to me, but I do. I don't know why. Anyway, this is called Sonora Sunset. And I thought that these red and pink colors in here were perfect for Valentine's Day. So that's why I chose this colorway for this month. Anyway, I'm planning on using this colorway for the entirety of the socks. I probably won't need to break into that 3rd skein, but I'm sure I won't. But I'm planning on using this for the heels and everything. But I will probably do I'm sure I will do some color management because I don't want my stripes to get messed up from the heel. So I'll probably break my yarn and make sure that the stripes are staying in sequence throughout the leg of the sock, because I think I will just prefer that. Anyway, again, this is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. And I decided to join in last time for my January socks using my Knit Picks Felici yarn. I had knit a sock pattern by Crazy Sock Lady Designs. And then she is doing a make along this month along with Moonglow yarn. And it is called the Vintage Valentine Mal, and that's for you to make any pattern using either the Moonglow yarn or one of Kay's patterns. And I thought, well, I could just use another one of Kay's patterns for this month as well. And I decided to use the Wild Heart pattern. I thought it was fitting for Valentine's Day. And I thought it would be fun to see how it looked in the self-striping yarn. And I just love it. I think it's so beautiful. So I am making the medium size, which is 64 stitches. I'm using US 0.2mm needles again. The cuff is a patterned cuff. I mean, it's not a standard 1x1 or anything like that. It's has a lot of twisted stitches in it, but it kind of coordinates with the leg pattern. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a pattern where, does that make sense? I don't know what to say. Like, it doesn't follow a 1x1 pattern or a 2x2 pattern or anything like that. You have to follow the pattern. It's a syncopated ribbing. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but anyway, I did, I think, only 17 rounds of the cuff just because I wanted the color stripes to, I wanted to start the pattern of the leg once the color shifted to this blue color. And the pattern has this gorgeous cable pattern running down the front of the sock. And there's some twisted stitches in there as well. I think it's so fun. I'm really enjoying it. The back of the socks is just plain stockinette, so that gives you a nice break. And it's fun to see how the color looks both in the pattern and just plain stockinette. But I'm loving these so much. The pattern calls for me to do, I think, 11 repeats for the leg. I may do 12 just because I like my socks to be pretty long, and I usually do about 70 rounds for myself for the leg. And I thought that I'll try to get probably as close to that number as I can. We'll see. But anyway, I'll probably start the heels fairly soon. I believe I'm on the 11th repeat of the pattern right now. So it's only a 6 round repeat. So it's a nice, manageable repeat, I think. I still have to, of course, pay attention to the pattern, but it's really, easy to catch on to and really fun to just work through one more repeat of the pattern and so forth. Along with the color stripe changing, it's making these socks really, really fun to work on. You hear my dog? Don't know what she's barking at, but she's a little loud. The other works in progress that I have to share with you all are my Scrappy blanket projects. So after I shared, like I said, after I shared my projects last time, it got me more interested, more excited to work on my Scrappy projects a little bit more. So I have those to share with you. I have 4 of them to share with you. The first is the Granny's Daughter Afghan that I am working on. It is pictured here in this Leisure Arts pamphlet that I picked up at the thrift store for only 50 cents. And it is made by doing just 1 round granny squares, using up your tiny little bits of scraps. It calls for worsted weight, which is what I'm using. And it only takes an arm's length of yarn to make one of these little granny squares. So it calls for you to make 836 of these 1 round granny squares. And after you have all of those made, then you join them all together in a certain way. So I am just working through my tiny bits of worsted weight acrylic scrap yarn. And I thought I had said before that I would just share with you whenever I finished another 100 little squares. So I'm just keeping them in a Ziploc bag, and I have now combined my first 100 and I now have 200 little granny squares in this baggie. And I have a few more that I have made that are sitting in here, but I have worked up all of the scraps that I have right now. So it's waiting for me to work up some more blankets using, a worsted weight acrylic yarn. And I'll just continue to work on this as I have more scraps. I'm using the recommended hook, which is a G 4mm hook. And they only take, a minute to work up. They're super, super simple and easy and fun to just whip up. So I have all of these little guys hanging out. I can't wait for the day when I can finally start joining these all together. I think it'll be so much fun to just randomly pull out a square and work it into this gorgeous pattern. It is designed by Nancy Fuller. It's so pretty. I haven't 100% decided on what color I will use to join them. I'm not sure if I will go with a cream color like they've shown or a different color, certainly a neutral color, but I haven't decided yet, but that'll be way down the road anyway, of course. My next Scrappy blanket, I did not share last time, I just talked about it. It's my Granny Stripe blanket. And I haven't shown this off in a long, long time. And prior to finishing this project, I was only using the tiniest little minute little scraps of yarn to put into my granny stripe blanket. And after I finished the pillow, I decided to put in any scraps that were under 3 grams of yarn into the granny stripe blanket, which meant that I had quite a bit of scraps all, collected really quickly from what I had left over from the pillow. So I was able to add almost 100 grams to this blanket. And here it is. It's still so small. I started this blanket in July of 2020. So it's such a slow growing project just because I am using tiny little pieces of scraps, but maybe it will grow a lot faster now that I'm adding in a little bit of bigger scraps than I had been. Here is a progress keeper marking where I was the last time I showed this off, and this is all that I added just in the last week actually. So I just absolutely love how it's working up. It's so crazy and colorful and beautiful. I think it will be a long-term project, but I'm okay with that. I'm again using all fingering weight yarn and a C 2.75 millimeter crochet hook. I use the Russian join method to join my yarn when I change colors. So I don't have any ends to weave in on this project either. And that has worked up really well, I think. Once in a while I get a little itty bitty little piece of yarn that I can trim if it kind of comes loose from the Russian join, but it's a really secure joining method and I really like how it looks. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? I just love how no matter where you look on the blanket, it looks different. No section is alike because the colors change so quickly. And I love being able to use up tiny little pieces of yarn that a lot of times it would be easy just to throw those away. Basically, this is being made up of yarn that would normally get thrown out. So I love it so much. Oh, I used the tutorial by Bella Coco to that's the tutorial I followed to make this blanket. And I started with I chained 300 stitches to start this blanket. So it's not huge, but it's a great throw size. All right. I love this one so much, but it's like a pleasure. It's a treat to be able to work on this because I don't get to work on it very often because I wait until I have, a good chunk of scraps saved up before I add them into this blanket all at once. I could do it little by little, but I just do it in that way. I just wait until I have a good chunk of these little tiny scraps and then I join them all together and go from there. Okay, my next Scrappy blanket I showed off last time, and it is my newest Scrappy blanket. And it is just a simple garter stitch blanket. I was inspired by Amber of A Lovely Yarn. She talked about a blanket that she is making very similar to this one, and I was so inspired that I wanted to make one of my own. So I cast on the exact same number of stitches that she did for her blanket, which is 240 stitches. And I'm using the same needles as her, which are US 8 5mm needles. And I am holding fingering weight yarn double. I'm also using the Russian join method for this blanket when I change colors. And I normally don't like the Russian join method for knitted projects, but since this is garter stitch and since I'm only doing the join method for one of the 2 strands of yarn, I find that it works well. I usually don't like the Russian join method for if I'm only using a single yarn and doing more of a stockinette stitch because the yarn gets quite a bit thicker when you do the Russian join method. It's, double thick at that join. And I think it's quite noticeable in stockinette stitch, but I don't think it's noticeable in this method since it's, 2 strands are being held double already and it's garter stitch. So I don't think it's noticeable at all. I am adding an I-cord edging, so at the end of every row, I slip the last 3 stitches with my yarn in front of my work to make this nice I-cord edging. This is completely random. Oh, last time I shared this project, I said I was using scraps that were about between 10 to 19 grams, I think I had said. And I've also adjusted that since I finished the pillow. I'm now using anything more than 3 grams up to 20 grams basically. So if I have a mini that's a 20 gram, I'll save that for, you know, to use in a different project, maybe for socks or something like that. But if it's under 20 grams, but over 3 grams, then it goes into this project. I just have been randomly pulling yarns out of my beautiful basket. Where did I put it? Here it is. My beautiful new basket that I shared on the last episode. I just have all my minis in here, and it's so much fun to just randomly pull out a new one and join it in. This has really been a joy to work on as well. I've really been enjoying working on all of my Scrappy projects lately. So there is a marker that's a beautiful progress keeper from Tracy of Grizzly Knits. She had sent to me last year. Yes. No, maybe in 22. I don't remember. I don't know. A while ago. She sent this beautiful little bunny progress keeper to me, and I love it. That is marking where I was last time I shared this. So it was just a tiny, tiny little strip of a blanket at that point, and it's not a ton bigger yet, but it's grown several inches, so that's great. And I really love how it looks just marling all of these different yarns together. It's so much fun to see how the colors play together, and it's so beautiful. I love it so much. So that is another wonderful Scrappy project that I've enjoyed working on so much. And my last project I have to share with you is being held in this Scrappy project bag that I made. It is the Chevron Granny Ripple Blanket. It's also a tutorial that I followed by Bella Coco again. And it's been a couple of episodes since I shared this project off. Last time I had forgotten to mention it and put it down below on the screen. Once I was editing, I realized I had forgotten to mention this blanket as one of my Scrappy blankets. But anyway, I have added quite a bit to this blanket now. So let's see, I started off with, I don't know, I didn't write down how many stitches I started off with because I just made a long chain and then I didn't count how many it was. I could do the math if I wanted to, but I haven't counted how many stitches I started off with. I guess I could just count the ridges. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 of these peaks on my blanket. So that kind of gives you an idea of how long it is. I'm not really sure if I don't remember what she says. I think she just tells you to do a multiple in the tutorial, do a multiple of so many, you know, to make it as long or as wide as you want it to be. Anyway, I am using an H 5mm hook for this project as well, and I am adding in all of my worsted and DK weight scraps that are, I think they're all either cotton or wool blend yarns. Last time I showed this project to you, I was on that minty green stripe where that cute little progress keeper is hanging. So I've added a lot of length to this as well. Well, not a ton, but you know, a pretty good chunk. And this is another super fun and enjoyable project to work on. I am again randomly grabbing yarn to add to this blanket as well, as you can probably tell, because some of the stripes are, you know, just halfway done, and you know, like the colors change halfway through the row sometimes, and there's this little itty bitty blip of burgundy in here. So it's very random and I love it. So fun. pretty? I am just so happy to be working on all of my Scrappy projects lately. I'm enjoying them all so much. Again, I'm using the Russian join method to join yarn for this project as well. And that just works out so nicely. It's one of my favorites for sure, especially for Scrappy projects. It works great in crochet, especially, and for Scrappy projects, I find. I love the colors and how, again, every section is different and it's so pretty. Love it. So those are all of my works in progress I have to share with you all. I did receive a few wonderful things, several wonderful things in the mail. I have been spoiled lately so much. My cousin Allie sent me another goodie box with some more yarn that she dyed. Look at this gorgeousness. So if you've watched the last few episodes, you would have seen the socks that I knitted using some of the yarn that she dyed. And she dyed up all of these gorgeous pinks and purples and sent them to me. There are 10 altogether. And I just think they're so wonderful. Aren't they gorgeous? I believe she has a set for herself too, and we're trying to decide what we want to make with these. So they are all fingering weight. I think that it's an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base, and so these are all 20-gram minis. They're so beautiful. She also sent a bunch of chocolate goodies that we are enjoying, and yeah, I just love them so much. So thank you again so much, Ellie. I love them, and I can't wait to work with these gorgeous colors. So pretty. And then I received another huge box of yarn in the mail. I feel so incredibly blessed to receive another box of goodies that I will ultimately be sharing with those of you that are participating in the Make 9 2023 MAL. Well, or maybe even next year, I'm not sure. I feel like I have so many gifts to give to all of you, so I just feel so blessed. So this is another box that was sent by a viewer of the podcast named Joy, and if you've watched for a while, this is the second time that Joy has sent me a huge box of wonderful yarny goodness, and I am just so incredibly grateful for your generosity to this podcast, Joy, and I'm just so humbled to receive these gifts, and I'm so excited to be able to share them with so many of you in the future. So I want to go through all of these wonderful things that she sent. All right, the first is a beautiful skein of yarn from Pitch and Coo. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. I feel like I've seen this brand before, but I can't think of how it's pronounced. Pickanoo? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's beautiful, naturally dyed Peruvian yarn. It is worsted weight, I think. Yes, worsted weight, 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I have two skeins, or hanks, I should say, from A Wooden Nest. This is also naturally dyed with madder root and coffee. They both are, though they're not an exact match, which should be expected with naturally dyed yarn. This is just a gorgeous yarn. It's 100% fine merino American wool, worsted weight. They're each 100 grams. So beautiful. Another one from A Wooden Nest. This is a fingering weight yarn, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And this one was dyed with walnut and madder root. It's 100 grams as well. Next is a beautiful skein from Freckled Whimsy. This would be self-striping. It's DK weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 245 yards. And this one is called Pumpkin Kisses and Harvest Wishes. So fun. I have this big cake from Mountain Colors. Look at that gorgeousness. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. Oops. So Mountain Colors hand-painted yarns out of Montana. 100% wool. It is an 8-ounce cake of yarn in the Bear Tooth colorway. 250 yards for 8 ounces. I'm not sure what that would be, but it's definitely a bulky yarn. So beautiful. Here is another cake of yarn in this gorgeous purple color from Knitted Wit. It is a Polworth shimmer base, which is 85% Polworth wool and 15% silk. It's 4 ounces, 330 yards. Maybe that's DK weight, but I'm just guessing on that. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to do some calculations to figure that out for sure. I would guess it's DK though. Because 100 grams is 3.5 ounces, I think. I don't know, just guessing, but it's beautiful. All right, I have this fun skein from Louisa Harding Yarns, Amito La Grande. And the color is number 507. I don't think it has a name on here. This is 80% wool and 20% silk. Beautiful. Did I tell you the weight? I bet not. It's 100 grams, 273 yards. So again, that might be DK or light worsted. So pretty. There is a skein from Loops and Threads in the Cozy Wool Tweed. This is called Cinnamon, and it is a DK weight. It's 66% polyester, 30% acrylic, and 4% wool. Gorgeous color. Look at those colors in there. Beautiful. Here is a gorgeous DK weight sock set from Charming You in the July Jingle colorway. So a DK weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. It comes with these 2 minis. Gorgeous colors in there. And another one from Charming You, again DK weight sock set. This just with 1 mini. And this is called Woodlands. Also, oh no, this is on an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon base. So pretty. A special sock set from Maker's Haven, who no longer dyes yarn. So it has 2 50-gram skeins as well as 1 20-gram skein, all on a 75-25 base. And this is called Dobby's Amortentia socks. Oh my, I bet I didn't say that. There's a note on here that says, imagine Dobby sneaking a bottle of Amortentia for a friend in need of a love potion for the one he loves. These are the socks he would wear. Beautiful colors in here. So much fun. I love this. Here is a skein from Ruby and Roses in the on the plump rose base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and this is called Felix Felicis. I'm not sure. Here, you may read it. Hopefully you can see that. Fun colors in here though. Be fun for maybe even kind of Christmassy colors almost. Here is one from Sweet Tea Yarns, which is dyed by Molly Klein. And this one is another DK weight. Darling DK, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and this one is called Wishing for Rhinebeck 2021. Fun specs in there. and a skein from a Homespun house. This is super soft on a cashmere base, 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon, and this is in the colorway Whimsy. Gorgeous. There's a very pretty mini skein set from Autumn and Indigo. And it is called, they're called Pipsqueaks. They're 75-25. I wonder if there's I don't see a colorway name for this set, but so pretty. And the last of the yarn are these two cotton yarns. So we have one Knit Picks Dishy in the Sunset multicolorway. So again, worsted weight, 100% cotton. And this one is universal yarn. Again, 100% reclaimed fibers on this one, it says. So it's 85% recycled cotton and 15% recycled polyester. It is called Hibiscus, the colorway. She sent a cute little progress keeper from Little Bitty Delights. And it is, oops, it is this little mug with an orange drink in it and a little straw. If you can see that very well, but super cute. She sent this cute little drawstring bag that she said one of her friends had made. She doesn't have a shop. And in here are some more goodies. So there is an enamel pin from Knit Picks with a hank of yarn. And one that says handmade. There's this sweet little stitch marker set from the Whimsical You. Very cute. A little sheep on there and some little stitch markers. This is a portable bag. It would be fun for a project to fit in there. And here is another stitch marker progress keeper set with a kind of a beachy theme. The lifesaver says life ring, and then there's I heart to swim, I heart yarn, and then a little sand bucket with a shovel and some beach chairs with an umbrella. Super cute. And she didn't know where this, or didn't remember where this set came from. Then there is this cute little notions pouch with kind of a camp mountain scene on it. This was made by Kitsch is the New Black, which is an Etsy shop that I'll try to link to if I can try to remember that. Just a simple zippered pouch. Very cute. She sent 2 of these notebooks, which are beautiful, aren't they? And in here is a way to keep track of your stash. So it's filled with these pages. They're all the same. And I believe this one is smaller, but I think it has all of the same information. Yeah. Just a little bit smaller. And these are made, handmade journals by Anne Osborne Reed at AOR Journals, in case you're interested. And then she sent 2 of these beautiful cases. They have a kind of a magnet snap here, and they open up like this. There's a little zipper pouch over here on the side. You open up this flap, and then you can put your needles and other notions in here. And these are made, They have several little pockets for all of your needles, and then bigger pockets in the back here, I think, for your cords and stuff. Anyway, these are made by 1,000 Stars. It's a business run by Kathy Lancy, and she makes crochet and knitting cases and project bags. So I have this one with kind of a travel theme fabric, and another case with sugar skulls. Okay, we also have this yarn storage box by Loops and Threads, and you can see on this picture down here in the corner, you can use it as kind of a yarn bowl, and then it also has this needle gauge on the side, so it's a fun box, very clever. So you just put it together, and then it can be disassembled for easy storage as well. And then she sent a bunch of books. So I'll go through those quickly. I won't go through them in detail, but the first one is by Patents. It's called Next Steps 8 Fair Isle Knitting. I didn't go through each of these books in detail yet, but here's an example of some of the patterns that are included. Not Just Socks for Kids by Sandy Rossner. And I think she said this was the only one that was gently used. All the other books are new. Carnaby Street by Anne Podlesek. I'm just going to show the outsides of these, but I'm sure the inside, I know, I've just flipped through them, but I haven't taken the time, but there's a ton of gorgeous patterns in each of these books. Knitting Mochi Mochi by Anna Rakovic. It's cute. Simple Knits, Blankets and Throws by Claire Crompton. 10 great designs to choose from. Get Hooked on Tunisian Crochet. Learn how with 13 projects by Cheryl Thies? Not sure. Little Knitted Creatures, 26 amigurumi designs by Amy Gaines. So cute. The Prayer Shawl Companion, 38 knitted designs to embrace, inspire, and create and celebrate life by Jane Bristow and Victoria A. Cole Gallo. The New Prayer Shawl Companion, 35 knitted patterns, again, same as the other one said, to embrace, inspire, and celebrate life, and by the same authors. New Pathways for Sock Knitters, Book 1 by Kat Bordhi. Knit Simple 50 Hats and Caps to Knit, the best collection of warm and cozy hats and caps ever. This, I don't know who the author is. It's just maybe this isn't considered, it's just published by Knit Simple, I guess. So maybe it doesn't have one author. And then there's some stitching books. So this is Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So it has cross stitch, needle punch. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what all is included in this. Punch needle and cross stitch, I think. This is volume 5, issue 2 from the summer of 2019. And here is another one of that same. I have a few of these. This one is from spring of 2020. Fall of 2019. They're fun. And finally, this one is from Christmas of 2019. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? So fun. That is everything. Isn't that incredible? Thank you so much, Joy. I am just overwhelmed with your generosity, and I'm so grateful that you were willing to send this wonderful box of goodies to me to share with all of you. I hope that you enjoyed seeing all of the wonderful things that she sent my way. And yeah, look forward to being able to gift these things to you all as well. So please continue to join in the Make 9 2023 MAU, and you will see a lot of these goodies going off to those that are participating in the Make Along. So that is all I have to share with you all today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate that so very much. I hope you all are doing really well. Take care. Bye-bye.